What's up, everybody? This is Super M Giles coming at you. You see my face a little bit in all the statue reviews, so I'm gonna stay behind the camera here and not show my ugly mug. But this is a little bit different. I promised I'd show you the Conan Atlantean. This is the only way that I can really show it to give you a good shot. But we'll do some close-ups here in just a second. But this is the Marto Special Edition Conan Atlantean sword. It's one of, basically, when they did the license for this about 10, 12 years ago, maybe 15 years ago. I actually bought this when I was in college with some extra money I had. I got a good deal at the time, paid about $800 for it when it was going for about $1,200. These go for $1,200 to $1,500 to even $2,000. There was two people who did the license for this, Albion Armors and Jody Sampson. I might be butchering his name, but he was the guy who worked on the original Conan swords. But he had a license to do it before he passed, and they would come sharpened. I mean, they were a little bit different type of steel, but they were awesome. But the Marto Special Edition is different just in the fact that if you look at this piece right here, it's hard, let me move back just a little bit, but inside these things, most of these Conan swords do not have this carved out. Only the Marto Special Edition actually has that carved out where you could actually stick your fingers in it. But of course, there's a ton of fakes out there. There's a ton of copies now that I think it's Museum Replicas that has the license from the Conan Incorporated to actually do these swords. Marto does not anymore. This is actually number 238 of either 1,000 or 500. I never found out the actual edition size, but they're quite expensive. You're lucky if you can get one for $800 or $900. If you're gonna get a true Conan Atlantean, get either the Albion Armors that goes for about $2,000 or the Marto Special Edition. A Marto from the sword makers in Spain. They make awesome swords. The bottom line is this is a real deal replica. Other than Albion Armors, Marto, and maybe Museum Replicas, and whoever Arnold has had make some of his. If you go to an Arnold Schwarzenegger Classic, he would have somebody sign one of these, and then he would sell it for a couple thousand dollars. Ridiculous, but people pay for it. But he'd have those cast off of his actual sword. Let me see if I can get down to this right here. This is a little sign that says, "That which does not kill you kills you, makes you stronger," from Nietzsche. Sorry it doesn't come in great. It's hard to focus with this camera. But this is the Conan Atlantean Special Edition sword, and I brought these out for a couple reasons. I just mentioned the Arnold Classic. If you ever get a chance to go, you need to do it. The first year I went, I met Arnold, and he signed this picture for me. And I mean, you'd be amazed when he walks around that thing. People think he's like Jesus. I mean, it's crazy. People knocking people over, trying to get to him, but luckily he stopped. He saw the picture. He talked to me for a couple minutes, signed the picture, and then it was like I was a superstar. People were freaking out. I mean, but Arnold is a really cool dude. Definitely one of the best days of my life. It was cool, man. It was just a greatest day ever. You know, it was just a really cool day meeting Arnold. He really is a really genuine cool dude. Then I had a wrestler who was really big into bodybuilding, and he looks kind of like the Asian Karate Kid that is in the movie Red Sonja. And so I promised him if he made it to the state tournament, which he did, I promised him that we would go to the Arnold Schwarzenegger Classic because he loves bodybuilding. So he did make it to state. We went to, this is when I coached wrestling a couple years ago, and so we ended up going, and I told him exactly, look, dude, you got to stick with me, stay with me, and we'll meet Arnold. I promise you, it's tough. It'll be tough because people are trying to get to him and all this sort of deal. But I was like, look, man, if you stick with me, we'll meet Arnold. And, of course, Arnold signed this for him. He didn't want to keep it. He gave it to me. I'm not going to turn it down. And, of course, this one from the Destroyer is signed as well. But so he signed that one in 2001. The cool story about this, and my little wrestler that went with me to the Arnold Classic, is that we actually got caught up in his entourage. And people, I knew he would sign. I mean, we just got caught up in his entourage. We were walking with Arnold and all of his bodyguards for a while in the big Arnold. If you've ever been to it, it's hilarious. It's such a fun time. If you get a chance to go to the Arnold Classic, go. It may be one of your few chances to really meet Arnold, but it was a cool time. We were in his entourage for about a minute. I was standing there talking to Ralph Mahler, the other guy who played Conan in the TV series, and also played in the Gladiator. Just really cool. But getting back to the sword, this is the Conan Atlantean sword, special edition, and giving you a couple of Arnold stories for Yardman 5, and also for my boy Bruce Campbell's chin. Thought you guys would be interested in those Arnold stories, actually getting to meet him and talk to him for a minute. And of course, this is a Conan Atlantean sword. If you're gonna get one, get the Marto or the Albion. You can't go wrong with either one. It's my favorite sword. I'll throw up a bunch of reviews. I got a bunch of movie swords. I used to collect swords before I started collecting statues. But there it is, guys, the Conan Atlantean sword.